For this exercise here, we were supposed to figure out how to extract information from Revit to create a building journal. So I managed to be able to extract the information, but I haven't figured out how to uh, create it in a way that Revit and Excel can both function and talk back and forth. So I have one section with walls, one section with floors, and one section with the roof. But since they have the same setup, I'm only going to cover the walls. Um, so if we zoom in here, so first we're going to start with our categories. Um, Again, we're focusing on walls here. So we're going categories and we select walls, and then we're going to connect it to all elements so we can get all the elements in the project. I'm just going to run it so we can get this other information from the list. So um, whenever we connect, we get yeah, all the stuff. So we have our element type that we're going to connect with our element category. Um, so then it goes and pulls all the elements of this type, if I understand that correctly. So then to kind of filter all the repeat, because we have some that are the same, we use this unique item list. So then it pretty much sorts the ones that are the exact same. So instead of 825 here, there's 31 because 31 of the walls are the same, or 31 out of the 825. Um, so then from there, um, we go to get parameter value by name because now we're trying to extract that information from Revit. So some of the common things that we usually have in our building journal is a category, and then we have these BIM 7A numbers, and then keynotes and type name, and then we have a description, which is just a layer breakdown, thicknesses of the components, and responsibility of who created it, and the trade that's responsible for it, fire ratings, EPD values, and there's much more, but these are the main things I wanted to focus on. So first we start with elements, and again we're gonna plug that into the list of unique items. There's no need to plug it into the other ones because again they're the same walls that are repeated. So we're just gonna use the 31. So I've plugged all of these categories into that one node. And then for the parameter name, you go through Revit and figure out which parameters you want to get information from. And I use the code block to type them all in. I've come across some new information regarding lists, so I'm going to take another look at it and maybe try and simplify it and hope that things can shrink down and um, then maybe it could help with returning information from Excel to Revit. So after I've connected all of these categories to the code block, I created a list, and it's all of the categories in just one long list. And then after that, I connected it to list transpose. So then it takes all the items in the list and it puts them in a sequence that goes together. So the categories, or all the numbers from uh, zero are together, all the ones from one are together, all the information from two is together, and so forth, so on. So then we use this export Excel. So again, that's what takes it and exports it from Revit into Excel. So just gonna click this. So we have a file path. Whenever we don't have an Excel created, we just browse, find where we want it to sit in our folder system, make a name, and then open it, and it creates it. So um, because I have three different categories, um, or I should say, since I couldn't really figure out how to keep everything on the same sheet, I just did the sheet names differently. So I have one that says walls, I have one that says floors, I have one that says roof. Um, so then I create a code block instead of strings and numbers. So then we can just have it a little cleaner and neater. So for the start row, again, it establishes which row it's going to start in. So I set it to 0. And for the start column, I set it at 1. So then um, we have space for a header. And then the data is all coming from this list transpose. So then it all should be um, organized as is in list transpose. So um, basically, I did the same thing for the other categories. Um, you have to be aware that some things are named differently depending on the component. Um, because when it comes to walls, instead of thickness, it's width. But then with floors and roofs, it's default thickness. So you should always double check your information. And yeah, so whenever you run it, you should get a nice list like this. I've still got to work on adding in the headings and everything. And then here's for the roof. It don't look as tidy as the other one. And then here's the floors. So yeah, so that's my attempt at creating a building journal. And hopefully I'll see you in another video once I figure out how to link it back to Revit.